Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, I think we should start. Hare Krishna, Prabhu, and devotees will join later. Here. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Inti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gurvani Charini Nirvishesha Shunvari Prashadari Shitarini Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Guru Bhakta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Okay, so Hare Krishna, Krishna Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Balaram Prabhu. So we continue on with this very heavy subject matter. Can you hear me? Well, I'm on this airport, traveling.
Yes.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Clear, huh?
Quite good.
Okay. So, heavy subject matter of understanding Srila Prabhupada and his actions, including when he yawns and he does this thing, not like us, even sleeping, even dying, and diseases, laughing, everything, all his activities, sensual activities, each and every activity like what we do, talking, smiling, everything. What is Srila Prabhupada doing at that time? Because if he is not a material person, if he is as good as God, then why is he also like eating, yawning, all these activities and diseases? We say spiritual, but how? How is it spiritual? So, of course, we cannot see and say this is what Srila Prabhupada is hearing or thinking or all those things, or this is how it is spiritual. I mean, we can't speculate at all in this subject matter. We don't, I mean, at least I don't have any like zero realization in this aspect. But what we can do is do Shastra Chakshusha. Shastra Chakshusha means, Shastra means scripture, Chakshusha meaning from the eyes of. So that's our Shabda Praman by which we hear, and that's how we try to see. We see from the eyes of the scriptures, through our eyes, So not from what I have experienced, no, Prabhu. We are hearing from so many places, so many people, so many, even including devotees, memories, and they are all well-meaning, maybe. Most probably, let's say, benefit of the doubt, everyone is well-meaning. But were they seeing when Srila Prabhupada, they were experiencing Srila Prabhupada's presence and experience and activities and pastimes and actions, were they also seeing those activities from the eyes of the scriptures? So, and if not, and if they were seeing with the tinge of material or a lot of material activities, like many devotees we know for sure, then our hearing from them also would be material, naturally. So what I have tried myself, I mean, I've not succeeded at all, but where I'm trying is seeing what in Bhagavatam Srila Prabhupada explains, and Bhagavatam other devotees are explaining, that this is how pure devotees are seeing, feeling. Krishna is asked this question by Arjuna: how is this person walk, talk, and sit? How? That's the answer to that question is very nicely summarized in Nectar of Devotion, in the Science of God. So there we were last week, if you remember, we were reading from that some excerpts from that in the 29th chapter. 31 chapter. Let me get to the. So in the chapter number 29, expressions of love of God, in that love of Krishna, there are some bodily symptoms which express overwhelming ecstatic love. They are counted at 31 as follows: disappointment, lamentation, humility, guilt, fatigue. We know in Leelamrita by Sarup Maharaj, it says that Srila Prabhupada whole day he was away and then he was fatigued. I don't know if anyone has read the Leelamrita. It says he was fatigued whole day being outside. But that is how we become fatigued. This is not how Srila Prabhupada becomes fatigued. He becomes fatigued out of overwhelming ecstatic love, including pride, doubt, intoxication. I don't know how he was intoxicated, but apprehension, intense emotion, madness, see, forgetfulness. Sometimes he forgets some things out of overwhelming ecstatic love. Diseases, confusion, death, laziness, all of these are out of overwhelming ecstatic love. All of these. All the above mentioned 31 symptoms of ecstatic love are called vyabhichari or disturbing. All these symptoms refer to apparently disturbed conditions. But even in such disturbed conditions, there is acute ecstatic love for Krishna. These symptoms, however, I'm going to skip that, but when all such symptoms are included in ecstatic love, they are called avyabhichari or continuously existing ecstatic symptoms. So this is the thing, continuously existing ecstatic symptoms. All of these symptoms are transcendental and they are exhibited in different ways, acting and interacting under different conditions. They are like reciprocation of love between the lover and beloved. So these are continuously existing, and these are symptoms of the underlying transcendental love. Srila Rupa Goswami says that fright, sleep, fatigue, laziness, and the madness of intoxication are sometimes grouped under continuous symptoms of ecstatic love. And they are due to a strong attraction. So when Srila Prabhupada sleeps, he doesn't sleep like us. When he says, "Oh, I'm going to sleep," it's a symptom of ecstatic love. False arguments, determination, steadiness, remembrance, joyfulness, ignorance, humility, and unconsciousness are also different symptoms of ecstatic love. The symptoms of ecstatic love are sometimes grouped under 4 headings, namely generation, conjunction, aggregation, satisfaction. And this is, I find this as the most important para to understand how to see Srila Prabhupada. Srila Rupa Goswami says that although he has no expert knowledge, I guess he is himself saying so, which is not correct, about the sounds and meanings and mellows of the symptoms of ecstatic love, he has tried to give some examples of different varieties of love of Krishna. He further states that the 31 disturbing systems of ecstatic love plus 9 other symptoms all taken together equal 40 primary symptoms of ecstatic love. These symptoms create transformations of bodily activities as well as movement of the senses. So this is what I find when I read this. That's how I started thinking Oh, that means movement of the sense, meaning he's walking, talking, these are all movement of the senses. All his bodily activities which we see, all the moving, these are all symptoms of ecstatic love. These are all separate, like continuously they are transforming, and that's how he's moving and going and doing everything. It's just unbelievable. We are going because we have certain thing to accomplish, certain task or certain things that comes to our mind. And for him, it is like from ecstatic love, continuously those are being moved everywhere. And all the activities are based on for that purpose, fulfill that. All of them can be accepted as different feelings of the heart. Sometimes some of the feelings are quite natural. Sometimes some of the feelings are just temporary appearances. Those symptoms which are very natural always remain from within and without the devotee. So I thought last week we left off here, and I thought that we could probably read and then discuss certain of his um, actions. So says it may be questioned why devotees of Krishna should be attacked by dizziness, which is usually considered a sign of the modes of ignorance. To answer this question, Srila Jiva Goswami has said that the devotees of Lord Krishna are always transcendental to all the modes of material nature. When they feel dizziness or go to sleep, they are not considered to be sleeping under the modes of nature, but are accepted as being in a trance of devotional service. And so it's my comment. Say, hence, Srila Prabhupada, when he slept, he was not sleeping like us. He was in another trance of ecstasy. But to be one with us, he would externally go to sleep like us. Just imagine if there is somebody who doesn't sleep at all, whole day, not at all. Then it's not like being one with us. People will say, oh, because he is the superhuman, Superman. He can chant, he can do all those things. Now we don't need to. I mean, how can we do all of these things? Right. So the pure devotees to be one with us, they act like us, but these are just transformations of ecstatic love. There is an authoritative statement in the Garuda Puran about mystic yogis who are under the direct shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In all three stages of their consciousness, namely wakefulness, dreaming, and deep sleep, the devotees are absorbed in the thought of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, in their complete absorption in thought of Krishna, they do not sleep. So this is final. They do not sleep because there is not even an instant that they are away from Krishna's thought. Anything we want to discuss this point about the sleep? Srila Prabhupada's sleep? Hare Krishna, Neelam Madhav Prabhu. Nice to see you here.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
I'm also glad to see you too.
Yeah. Okay, let's carry on to the yawning. Has anyone seen Srila Prabhupada yawn? Like that.
Just
I've
on a
seen it.
photograph.
Yes, you're correct. Yeah. So, oh man, I should share. I don't know why I didn't share. It is said that when the full moon rises, the lotus petals become expanded. Similarly, when Krishna used to appear before Radharani, her face, which is compared with the lotus flower, would expand by her yawning. So it's like a lotus flower expands, like that Srila Prabhupada's mood expanded on probably seeing Krishna. I don't know what he was doing, but this is what it says here. Like drooling. So during his disappearance pastime, Srila Prabhupada, he can be seen sometimes drooling. If you see the last pastime, then different devotees. I think even Jayadvaita Swami and other devotees, they are like wiping his face with a little towel carefully because he was drooling. And so in nectar of devotion, Srila Rupa Goswami says, and Srila Prabhupada then summarizes, as an example of the running down of saliva from the mouth, it is stated that sometimes when Närada Muni was chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, he remained stunned for a while and saliva oozed from his mouth. So when Srila Prabhupada can be seen drooling, that means he's stunned. At least we can summarize from this. I don't know, maybe there is drooling because of some other reason, other ecstatic symptom, but this is because of being stunned. And there is a lecture where he is belches, something like this. Sometimes belching also becomes a symptom of ecstatic love. So sometimes it seems like it's not a continuous symptom, but it's a temporary symptom. There is evidence of this in Purnamasi's address to one crying associate of Radharani. My dear daughter, don't be worried because Srimati Radharani is belching. I am about to offer a remedial measure for this symptom. Do not cry so loudly. Belching is not due to indigestion. It is a sign of ecstatic love for Krishna. I shall arrange to cure this belching symptom immediately. Don't be worried. This statement of Purnamasi is evidence that ecstatic love for Krishna is sometimes manifested through belching. Now, this is important, this forgetfulness. We hear Srila Prabhupada many times. Initially, I was hearing and Prabhupada, he was chanting Jai Radha Madhav and he flips the words and the lines. The last line becomes the second line. Does anyone remember that? Not Jai Radha Madhav and Kunj
Yes,
Bihari.
Prabhu. Yeah.
He
I've
and some
also heard.
Sometimes he has even means shlokas also. He puts up sentences up and down.
That's right. And sometimes he says, oh, what's that? Like how can he forgetfulness happens because our mind, you see, Srila Prabhupada says even a pure Brahmana, he has the power to remember anything once said. That's in mode of pure, in very good mode of goodness. The memory is so sharp, right? How can a Shuddha Bhakta forget anything from the material modes we are talking about within this world? He can't. The only explanation is that he forgot the material world out of ecstatic symptoms. And this is in many places. I'm only quoting a couple of these things here. So many places this is described. When Krishna was absent from Vrindavan and was staying in Mathura, Srimati Radharani sent news to him that his mother, the queen of Braja, was feeling such separation from him that there was foam coming from her mouth, like the foam on the shore of the ocean. And sometimes she was raising her arms like the waves of the ocean. And because of her intense feeling of separation, she was rolling on the ground and creating a tumultuous roaring sound. And sometimes she was remaining completely silent, like a calm sea. These symptoms of separation from Krishna are called apasmara or forgetfulness. One completely forgets his position when he manifests these symptoms in ecstatic love. So we can safely say that Shiva Prabhupada is feeling intense feeling of separation on the authority of the scriptures whenever he forgets some things. In the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Jadaya is explained as loss of memory brought about by severe shock due to separation from the beloved. In that state of mind, one loses all concern for loss or gain, hearing and seeing, as well as all other considerations. This marks the preliminary appearance of illusion. So I guess there is a spiritual illusion also, and then it goes more and more. In the final portions of his pastimes, Lord Chaitanya was obsessed with the badness of separation from Lord Krishna. He acted in erroneous ways and talked deliriously. Yes, Balram Prabhu? Hare Krishna, can't hear you.
Hare Krishna, can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Sorry, if our internet is not such a good connection, so
okay.
tell us if you can't hear us, we'll cut the video.
Yeah, I can hear.
I just-
Yes.
We're just wondering how, you stated there at the end, almost conclusively, as a conclusion, that Srila Prabhupada was ecstatically stunned, therefore he drew. So, were there other examples where Prabhupada manifested drooling when he was walking or sitting on class or anything, or only happened in sleep state?
No, he was not sleeping. So the point is that, okay, so
What
sorry,
we're saying, of course,
okay, I understand. So
so-called sleep state.
sure. So what happened is that when I was writing this particular paper, I was taking excerpts from Nectar of Devotion to prove certain points. But so if one goes into being stunned, there are many symptoms which happen because of being stunned. It is not just drooling. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, so many places is described that. And I'm not an authority to understand. I have not studied it, nor of course I feel stunned anytime. But I have read, I can recollect a few places where he's stunned, he's drooling. Sometimes Krishna's limbs became, Lord Chaitanya's, limbs became elongated. And there is a whole description of all the symptoms that were happening because he was stunned. I think it's
Yeah, so
Sanskrit word is stamba.
my question is, was Prabhupada drooling in any other state?
I have no idea, Prabhu. I don't remember. If somebody else can remember, I know this particular video. Maybe devotees who were with him maybe can explain. Maybe we can ask devotees, but only video evidence, whatever I remember seeing is this. That doesn't mean he was not stunned before. There was one case in Atlanta where he became stunned and he couldn't speak or anything. And then for 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes, everyone was silent waiting on Srila Prabhupada. And,
Yes.
But so, but we know because of being stunned, there are many different kind of symptoms. As far when one reads the chapter number 29, 30, 31 of Nectar of Devotion, there all these mixing and matching, like permutation combinations happen with different airs, different, don't ask me all these complicated things, but when one symptoms they touch air, then there are other symptoms come. When some earth touches, then the other symptoms happen. All these kind of things happen.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, at the moment, we have only one example of Prabhupada drooling that we know of. That was when he was so-called sleeping. Is that right?
Yeah, for me, I don't know if someone else has.
Okay, thanks. And one more question I want to ask, if you don't mind. Sorry to interrupt too much,
Yes,
but
of course, Prabhu.
in dealing with this topic, when we hear and read, and Prabhupada teaches us that the Uttam Adhikari comes down from Uttam to Madhyam. When he does that to preach, does that affect what bodily symptoms he manifests? Like if he was an Uttam, if he kept himself, let's say, if we understand it correctly, consciously on Uttam, and then didn't preach, would he have different bodily symptoms then when he comes down to Madhyam? Then are there different bodily symptoms manifested?
Oh, it's such a beautiful question. So this is the glory of Srila Prabhupada, that let's say he is coming down, let's say Shudra, like cleaning toilet, cleaning this thing. He still remains the same. No? Srila Prabhupada gave one example like that Uttam Adhikari, when he's coming down to Madhyama, that doesn't mean he is become Madhyama. He is doing that role because he has to see people like that. Somebody is not so advanced, somebody is more somebody is envious, so that he can preach. That doesn't mean he himself like this ecstatic symptoms change, he is what he is. He cannot hide it. That is why Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami, they are praying to him. You are trying to Lord Chaitanya, you are trying to hide your incarnation, but you can't. Someone who is your eternal servant will recognize you, because the love what one is feeling for you and your symptoms, you cannot hide them from them. He is what he is. He can take a role, he can go into another mode, but he is what he is. No, that doesn't
But
change.
let's just say when Chaitanya came as Chaitanya, he has his own specific symptoms because he's fully in the mood of Radharani. But when he comes as Krishna, when he comes as Nrsingadev, those incarnations have their own, let's say, mood, therefore symptoms, right?
Yeah. But the ecstasy, see, there are varieties of ecstatic prema symptoms. That doesn't mean that he comes down from prema, not non-ecstasy. So you see, so the varieties can change. Srila Prabhupada, that's the whole joy of being with Krishna, is the varieties of reciprocation and different pastimes. That's why Krishna, all these devotees, they are enjoying in Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan. They are also simultaneously enjoying the pastimes with Lord Chaitanya. This is such a great variety. Being one person, you can go into different reciprocations. Anyway, to my little extent, that's how I think. But I'm certain, Prabhu, that Srila Prabhupada he cannot change himself. He is what he is. And this is great, Prabhu. Your questions are such nice queries, like really thoughtful. You are like a real disciple of Srila Prabhupada. So, shall we continue here? Any other points some people, devotees, want to make? Anyone else? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
So, this is with respect to forgetfulness character that you have mentioned. So one, again, this I had, means I don't, if I remember something from some devotee has said is, again, this is, I couldn't find a relationship anywhere in any of the books, but he said was that Srila Prabhupada sometimes do mistakes, but it is in a way so that we can serve him in the mode of humbly correcting him. I don't know how valid we have to consider that point, but what do you
Did
think
he give
about
an example? Did he give an example?
So just like sometimes he quotes some shloka which is not
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
so in that sense it was said that, oh, because so that disciples get a service to correct him. So I don't know, I was
Yeah.
not really able to get convinced with the answer, because how a disciple can correct a spiritual master. uh, so I
Well,
don't know
our
whether
Neelam Madhav Prabhu is here. He's a very nice devotee. We have been having some conversation. He's from Russia. And we have been talking about this point about editors correcting Srila Prabhupada's books. No? While he was manifesting his pastimes, he gave the service of correcting his words to editors. Now, why did he do that? We see from Nectar of Devotion, we can bring it up. One of the 50 qualities of a pure devotee, and according to Nectar of Devotion, is a perfect linguist. Krishna is a perfect linguist, and pure devotees too. Krishna knows all the languages of the world perfectly. He doesn't need to sit and learn, because all knowledge he has. Similarly, a pure devotee too. Even a Jiva Tattva, in his full a liberated stage, he also knows all the languages. It's right there, black and white in Nectar of Devotion. So now, how do we see Srila Prabhupada having English of this sort, or sometimes grammar is like that while he's typing, or even speaking sometimes? Why? So, Jayadvaita Swami, I had this whole debate in the Long Island Temple with him in 2004. Taka, 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 no, 1 hour. So it's that's where he started saying all these things, and I really so upset, my God. So he started saying, oh, because he's from India, English is not his native language, and all this nonsense. So I said to him this point, that how is it? He's a perfect linguist. Why? No, because but he was born there, and I mean he couldn't, because he's thinking of Srila Prabhupada as a material person. So he's thinking like that. But for some reason, even why is it that he's perfect linguist, but still there was some issues in the books? Why did he tell editors to edit them? It's a point. Let's discuss this, no? Because this is one of the most important topics we could discuss, because this is the core of how the parampara continues. Whether we also have to, whether it's our duty to serve, whether how much Srila Prabhupada is requiring our service, or is it an optional service given to us for our purification, or he cannot function without us? Which what Jayadvaita Swami says and thinks, that there is something lacking in Srila Prabhupada because of his being a native speaker, not non-native speaker of English. So we have to do it. Anyone? Yes, Balram Prabhu.
Yeah, I mean, certainly what I see as the conclusive answer to all of this is to somehow give us more service, engage us and inspire us to do more service. That's always the position of Srila Prabhupada. And to add further to this, we can see, I wanted to from last week, but haven't had 2 seconds spare because of being so busy with devotees here, to compile information where Srila Prabhupada himself talks about himself being somewhat human or in a body or limited body.
Yeah. I can read them to you. Yeah, I can read them to you.
Yeah, I mean, something like that just came to mind today, like Srila Prabhupada saying, when Bhaktisiddhanta came to me in a dream and told me to take sannyas, I was horrified, So seemingly, let's say, he's reacting like a normal human. Oh my God, I have to give up my wife and family and be sannyas. So on one level, we know that's not the case. But on another level, Prabhupada is giving us that and is showing his so-called human material limitations to inspire, I guess, devotional mood, devotional service, attachment to him. So we have to understand both, actually. It's like what Chaitanya says, the Chintya Veda Veda Tattva. So simultaneously, how to understand how Srila Prabhupada is transcendental to this, and how and why he acted like a human, for what purpose. So both of them have their reason and their purpose, and we should understand that.
Anyone else on this topic, please put your thoughts. Rancho Prabhu, you were going to speak something?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So I was just thinking that Prabhupada wants to edit, like not omitting anything, just to do some grammatical mistakes. That's what I feel it. That's what he wants the editors to take care of it. That's what I feel it, and I found some reference over here on that also.
So again, just to add to the same chain of thought, so initially when Prabhupada wanted people to get engaged in certain activities, that time Prabhupada said that, okay, do this transcription or do this uh, correction and all those editing work. But later, when he understood that people are in a way can
Yeah.
do other services, there are many other channels being opened and they can uh, do some devotional service in other spheres. And you also foresee that there is a chance where people will now cross the boundary and
Mhm.
overdo the things. Maybe that time Prabhupada said, no, stop, no more editing required.
Excellent. Very good analysis. I didn't think about that. Very nice. Ranchor Prabhu, did you finish what you were going to say?
Yes, Prabhu, that was my understanding that Prabhupada
Okay.
wants to do only the grammatical mistakes without omitting
See.
any content.
Okay. Vashish
But
Prabhu? Yes. Hare
but then they
Krishna
could.
Vashish.
Okay, that's not Vashish, but he's also
He has raised his hand.
yeah.
His
Let him start
beautiful.
first.
Vashish Prabhu, you are mute.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna, really want this. Well, sorry, I've come a bit late, but the reference, the quotes that you have been sharing, Prabhu, first time, but I've been saying these quotes, and actually there are many more. There are the quotes that I've been saying. It, it is same like the other quotes which I've been reading, as we have been reading in Prabhupada Lilamrita Review and the Guru Business and the Prabhupada is our living you. Similar quotes,
Yeah.
the same line.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. Yes.
So and this reminded me that of the verse that we sing every day in the morning. We're supposed to sing every day in the morning, like Vedegai Jahara Charito, right? The very scripture sing of this practice,
Okay.
right?
Nice. Very good.
Yes,
Very nice, Prabhu. There are so many ways of seeing him. Very correct.
yes.
As the
And everywhere,
Sakshadhari. Yeah.
yes, everywhere where the glories of a devotee, the characteristic of a pure devotee is mentioned in the scriptures, in that sense in the Bhaktivedanta purport, which out of transcendental humility, Prabhupada is means okay, he's glorifying the devotee, but we should be what we, we should we are supposed to know that all these qualities, characteristics of a great devotee, of the pure devotee, it applies to Prabhupada, right?
Yeah.
And
Very nice. Yeah.
there are many more instances also where like the changes, book changes. Just like I've heard earlier devotees, senior devotees, when they say that when Lord Krishna appeared on this planet, on this planet Earth, he was a supreme. He's a supreme personality of Godhead walking, supreme Bhagwan, Lord, the supreme absolute truth, walking on this planet. But no, not many people, or very very few people surrendered to him.
Mhm.
He's a master of all the masters. Like he's a supreme controller, right? Means supreme proprietors. I don't know what's the meaning, the definition of God to say, but imagine God appearing in front of you, but how many people surrendered to him? And just like Lord Lord Ramchandra also, right? When he was supposed to go to a forest, like people say, like in his leader, in his divine leader, like if King Dashrath knew that Lord Rama is the supreme personality of God, he has come here to establish dharma. So when it was time for him to go to the forest, he just would have bowed down. Okay, master. Okay, God, you please go. You understand all these, like
Yeah.
these are all the internal energy working between the Lord and his associates and all this. And regarding Prabhupada, well, that is only we cannot judge all these things, but we have to use the scripture to see what is what, which is which. And regarding the so-called mistakes in the book, like Prabhu just mentioned, like in the beginning, he said, yeah, Prabhupada wanted to to present this Bhagavad Gita or the message of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam in the English language, and he wanted it to be perfect, right? Like in the perfect grammatical language. But with time, like he will say that no, print the books in its original form with the so-called mistakes happening in the book, and it is even these so-called mistakes or blunders or given or explained or explain or explain very nicely in that verse 1.511 something like that, where that Narad, you must be
Yeah.
doing this verse
Yes.
where it is you know what I'm referring to, right?
Yes.
Like even a work which is given has been given in a with mistake, it has to be accepted, right? Like Ashok Royal.
Flight 467 service to Chicago, has boarded all passengers, all groups. Third ticketed passenger, please make your way to the gate marked C5.
Tadvaga visargo janatagal viplavo yasmin prati
Exactly.
shlokam abhaddhavati
But
namani anandasya.
we're getting some noise from somewhere. Can everybody make sure they mute themselves?
Yeah,
except
that's
speaker?
it's from Nimai Pandit, who is sitting at the airport, and sometimes the speakers are really not
I'm
really loud.
sorry, I will remember to do that. I'm sorry. Okay, Christoph Prabhu, you wanted to say? Oh, Ashish Prabhu, continue.
So like, it's like this. So we have to take that it is where Prabhupada presents himself or expresses himself in a vulnerable, helpless human being like that. When he expresses himself like that, we are supposed to take it as his transcendental humility, nothing else, right? And it's bewildering. It's very bewildering. That's the nature, the transcendental nature of the Lord, of his pure devotees. I think we are supposed to accept it like that.
Christoph Prabhu, before we get to you, can I show the
Sure,
quotes
go.
related
Yeah.
to what Ashish Prabhu just mentioned? 1 second.
United Beijing Chicago passenger Garcia, party of two.
A devotee on the topmost platform of devotional service always humbly thinks that he is not rendering any devotional service. He thinks that he is poor in devotional service and that his body is material. Say the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his incarnations or devotees may pose themselves as ordinary men, but they are never to be considered as such, basically by us. They may pose, they may out of humility, like what Vashish Prabhu is saying, or transcendental humility, which we just read in Nectar of Devotion, that it is one of the ecstatic symptoms. They would become humble within themselves to Krishna and to circumstances provided by Krishna for whatever manifestations of ecstasy they are going on in the relationship. But we don't have to, we can't take that. We have to take them as very, Prabhupada calls it Maryada. Maryada is a respectful relationship, and Maryada with Vatikrama means going above the, crossing that line of respect. And thinking that they have to be corrected, or oh, they are like that or like this. Yes, Christoph Prabhu.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to get back a bit on what Ranjit Prabhu said, which sounded a bit like that, yes, Srila Prabhupada made some grammatical mistakes and wanted these corrected by the editors. But of course, the question in this discussion is like, were there mistakes? Are there any mistakes at all, or do we only consider them as mistakes from a mental or from an intellectual point of view? As you pointed out, some editors that you talked with, obviously have this point of view, at least back in the day had this point of view. But yeah, so that's the question, right? So and we would answer like, no. I mean, they are not mistakes in a spiritual sense. They appear from a material or intellectual point of view to be like, okay, it's not perfect British Cambridge English or something. So there are some from a material point of view, there are appear to be grammatical mistakes. So, but how to bring this together, right? So this is like the question here, right? And as Balaram Prabhu said, like, okay, sure, is it only like, okay, to give service and to give an opportunity to other devotees who think like, oh, I'm an editor, I'm good, I'm a good English speaker, I will correct these. Is it just that, or right? Also in general, right? So this is what I wanted to say. So we see normally in every, if a devotee appears, or even if Krishna appears, so normally they're not switching roles, right? So it's not like that. Um, they might have the potential. I mean, definitely with Krishna, of course, he could come as Krishna and then suddenly say like, by the way, no, I'm in Krishna Lila, but now I want to be Nishingadev, and then I play a couple, I be Nishingadev and Vrindavan. I mean, why would he do that, right? So even Krishna is not switching roles normally, in that sense, right? Like,
Well, Lord Chaitanya did. Lord Chaitanya
yeah, exactly. I wanted. That's why I'm saying like normally, but in some cases, that's where we could see, in general, or potentially it is possible, potentially, but normally no one is switching roles, right? So even, and also the devotees are not really switching roles in that sense. So Prabhupada probably potentially, from this argument, would have the chance to just say like, okay, now I'm a perfect English linguist, and now as sometimes happened, right? So devote not with linguists maybe, but sometimes people were surprised that, oh, there's some mystical expressions or mystical potencies that Prabhupada showed, that he was not really walking, but like kind of flying up the stairs, or things like this. So, but this would completely break our minds, if suddenly a devotee would outwardly display, even we are already kind of shocked if we see these little displays of ecstatic love. What to speak if someone would suddenly come and show all the potencies a devotee would have. So I think that's also
mystic siddhis, or okay,
everything, mystic cities, everything. Just think like, okay, you would see like a yeah, I mean, kind of yeah, think of like proper flying around, not needing an airplane. Just say like, okay, now I'm going to Vrindavan, bam, and he's just, or just expanding himself to Vrindavan or something, right? And just
like Närada Muni going in the air like
exactly,
that.
right? So people would be shocked in that sense also. So I think that's also just for our
But then
conditioned
everybody
minds.
the whole world will follow him, no?
Yeah, you could argue that, but this is same thing like, oh, if there's God, why there's war in the world? Yeah, because if God constantly would show like, here I'm here and I do everything by my will. So what's the point in that, having a material world and having it's basically forceful to the conditioned souls who want to stay in illusion, right? So you have to find a way to, in that sense, to give service. You find a way to interact and get a step into the conscious will of the conditioned souls. So
Not like Lord Jesus walking on the water, and then sentimentalism will
exactly
be developed. Yeah.
exactly right. So it's very intricate. So that's why, and then we say like, or then we see like, oh, but this is a mistake. But from a spiritual point of view, no, it's not. So it's just basically a chance, or we could argue it's a chance for us to tap into the Krishna consciousness, right? To get out of our unconditioned of our conditioned state, you know.
This one thing that you said about he doesn't make mistakes, only grammar, this Cambridge English or this English. Now, our Neela Madhav Prabhu, it's in Russian, you know, we can see Neela Madhav. You can read Russian, right? I'm just joking. So very nicely he has brought up, very wonderfully, very respectfully, he's been translating, and so he's finding. So I wanted to show you one. One second, let me. Oh. People can see that, right? Can see?
Yes.
Kripacharya, you can see this?
Yeah, I see it.
Oh, okay.
Everyone else also.
So the Bhagavad Gita says, the original
We
Bhagavad
can't
Gita.
see. We're using phones and we can't see. Can you make it bigger, please?
God.
Oh, that's
Now? Can you see
Okay,
now?
great. Thank you.
Okay. So original Bhagavad Gita says, Srila Prabhupada is saying, Kripacharya married the twin sister of Dronacharya. So basically, Dronacharya's sister, Dronacharya has a twin sister whom Kripacharya married. Okay. And Neela Madhav Prabhu looked at the manuscript, he looked at the original Bhagavad Gita everywhere. He says in Bhagavatam, it says it was Dronacharya who married the twin sister of Kripacharya.
so the last version is from the Bhagavatam.
No.
So can you no. So can you
Neela Madhav Prabhu, where is this from?
Oh, that's the translation.
It is the suggestion.
Oh, where did you learn
I also
that?
mentioned, I also mentioned that Srila Prabhupada says about Kripacharya, Dronacharya, and sister in Srimad Bhagavatam. There is a quote where
Okay.
Srila Prabhupada said that Dronacharya married Kripacharya's sister.
Okay.
But these very cell, what are you watching now? It is like a suggestion from myself.
I understand. Okay. Okay. So, but what he is picking this up from a lecture or Bhagavad or written in Bhagavatam or a lecture, I don't know. But basically, Srila Prabhupada says separately that I have no reason to disbelieve that this is what was the right thing. Or so, how do we see that? There could be some, and I know of a few other. I don't want to bring it up. But I know a few other ones also like that. We know he's everything he knows. And why these? This is not just English grammar. Anyone?
I mean, first idea that came to my mind was like, okay, maybe he mixed the timelines. But that's of course more like a joke. No, actually no idea.
Well, is it just like how he's mixing the wording of Jai Radha Madhav?
Could be.
I mean, next time I will send you. Maybe somebody can send the Jai Radha Madhav is singing in the chat in the WhatsApp group. You can see it's all upside down. So this is the thing. No? This forgetfulness. It's a Brahm. The philosophy is not being disturbed. See, Kripacharya married Dronacharya married. How does it matter? You see, but if he said, "Oh, Krishna, the Brahman is higher than Krishna," out of forgetfulness, that we can say it's not That's not right. But these kind of things which are inconsequential, these are historical facts or like that, inconsequential to the Siddhanta. So many places he is in ecstasy, he is something else is going. Whereas Lord Chaitanya's many pastimes are there where he's speaking some like nonsense so many times, like something, not nonsense from material point of view. I'm saying nonsense, but like doesn't make sense. Some words coming out. So, I mean, that's the only answer I see from the scriptures. I have no other, because the first thing that we see from the Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela 286, the verse is like that the pure devotees don't commit any mistakes. Brahm refers to false knowledge or mistakes, such as accepting a rope as a small snake or an oyster shell as a gold. And all these misunderstanding, cheating propensity, imperfectness, all these are not part of the, that's like, since the personality of Godhead and his plenary portions and self-reliant devotees are all transcendently situated, they cannot be misled by such deficiencies. So, Srila Prabhupada is not misled by these deficiencies when he is saying Kripacharya and Dronacharya. Then the answer is, the only answer we see about mistakes is what we were reading just now, is becoming too absorbed. Like Krishna, we were reading last time that Krishna himself started milking a bull. Where is that gone? Krishna was so much attracted to Radharani that by mistake, he tried to milk the bull instead of the cow. And sometimes when the gopis used to put on their dress and makeup for seeing Krishna, they would be too much hasty and smear kumkum and massacre on the wrong places. So, but it is not the same as material fault or material envy. It is transcendental because it is all based on Krishna. So, Anand, let's go to what Lord Chaitanya was feeling. Lord Chaitanya was obsessed with the madness of separation from Lord Krishna. He acted in erroneous ways and talked deliriously. But Lord Chaitanya exhibited the highest stage of the feelings of a devotee in separation from the Lord. This exhibition was sublime because he was completely perfect in the feelings of separation. Materialists, however, cannot understand this. Sometimes materialistic scholars think he was deceased or crazy. Their problem is that they always engage in material sense gratification and can never understand the feelings of the devotees and the Lord. Materialists are most abominable in their ideas. They think that they can enjoy directly perceivable gross objects by their senses, and that they can similarly deal with the transcendental features of Lord Chaitanya. But the Lord is understood only in pursuance of the principles laid down by the Goswamis, headed by Swarup Goswami. There are many more. There are many more. If this is the only topic, then I can research, and devotees can also research. There are so many places. This Siddhanta is described that out of separation from Krishna, they become forgetful.
But so I think this is actually really probably the main point here. So because it's always considered by the conditioned souls, by again by editors and everything, because they prioritize to the intellectual mind. Okay, if it's not 100% logic, 100%, they are basically it's this dualistic mindset that we are trapped in. And then we think like, oh, it has to be perfect here and there. But which is basically just material sense gratification, right? It has to be 100%. So whereas the feelings of the devotees are higher, right? And so then the display of these transcendental feelings on the lower subtle level, gross level manifestations might come out as, act out as in erroneous ways, right? But actually, they are perfect because they're transcendental. But just from our point of view as conditioned and only basically acting on the intellectual level most of the time, so we think like, oh, this is a mistake because we can't see beyond that. We can't see beyond that. I think
Exactly, Prabhu.
that's really I think that's the main point here.
Thank you, Prabhu. This is so painful to see like a manifestation of ecstasy. we don't know what ecstasy is even, like not at all. But he is manifesting his ecstasy, and instead of appreciating and like really feeling so much like overwhelmed by seeing somebody like that, we with our critical eyes we start seeing from that point of view, which is natural because we are all in sense gratification. The only way to purify is basically to humbly listen more and more from the scriptures, from the great devotees who are writing that no, don't see like that, see it like this. That's why it is so that familiarity breeds contempt. And for and Vapu Seva, it was so tough. And in Vani Seva, like especially editors and all, they are like bewildered now if they don't keep the consciousness like this. That anytime one error is found, if this consciousness is not the error is because of the ecstasy, then one can get so bewildered because intellectually one is going into a sattvic mode, and in sattvic mode one knows one can get trapped in the feeling of I am superior. And in 14th chapter, very excellently Krishna is describing this point. Let's look at that, which is the most dangerous thing to the 14th chapter. Pradyumna Prabhu, mode of goodness, one gets bound. Where is this? Yeah, this is the one. So this is the 14th chapter, 6th verse. O sinless one, the mode of goodness being purer than the others is illuminating, and it frees one from all sinful reactions. Those situated in that mode develop knowledge, but they become conditioned by the concept of happiness. Actually, in the Vedic literature, it is said that the mode of goodness means greater knowledge and a greater sense of happiness. The difficulty here is that when a living entity is situated in the mode of goodness, he becomes conditioned to feel that he is advanced in knowledge and is better than others. In this way, he becomes conditioned. The best examples are the scientist and the philosopher. He becomes proud. That's the sense gratification the trap one can fall under. And the perfect example is, one day I will tell you the whole thing, what happened, the whole debate between me and Jayadvaita Swami in front of 50, 70 devotees in the temple. And it was like the perfect example. Even the congregation devotees understood that he is so damba, the arrogance. This is exactly like that. So, yes, Vashish Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu, you raise a very interesting point, like the where you say about Prabhupada mentions, or in the scriptures is mentioned about familiarity breeds contempt, where familiarity breeds contempt, and Vani Seva is more important than the Vapu Seva. As in the Vapu Seva, there are many chances of doing mistakes, big mistakes, like considering the spiritual master as an ordinary person. We can by serving him by serving him we may tend to think that he is an ordinary person, right? It may that familiarity will come in may come in our mind. Like it's much easier. It is many I heard many devotees now who say that it is much easier and safer to be a Prabhupada disciple, to be a better a disciple of Prabhupada now, right? Than during the pre-77 during Prabhupada Forget, because now we have the Veda base, we have many things like it's just which is available right at one click. But earlier it would have been very difficult to understand all these esoteric concepts, isn't it?
Yeah, I
Oh,
think
I can't hear you.
to,
You are
just-
muted, Prabhu. You are muted.
Okay. I had thought a lot about this point, because, of course, Srila Prabhupada was, so the point is that so that's why I tried to understand at this stage, what is our, should we try to go deeper? Because if one is near Srila Prabhupada and doing Vapu Seva and not understanding the pure devotee in front of us from the eyes of the scripture, then it is extremely injurious. Like it says, one is forbidden to observe the activities of a pure Vaishnava from a material point of view. For the neophyte, especially considering a pure devotee from a material point of view is very injurious. It's like very injurious. I don't know if there is anywhere it's written like that. One should therefore avoid observing a pure devotee externally, but should try to see the internal features and understand how he's engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. So now the point is that, as you are saying, oh, we are safe. One way it is very correct. I mean, we miss out on all the pastime, experience once in a day of Brahma, maybe, I don't know. But we finally have to reach there, no? I mean, that's the goal, right? So now we have to understand. Fine, it can develop gradually, but the problem, what has happened is at this stage in this world, I mean, in this current atmosphere, so much envy has permeated the devotee community, envy to Srila Prabhupada, that even if we don't want to, we say, oh, Prabhupada is not near us, all these things physically, we can peacefully practice, but we can't, because we keep hearing all these things. All these things are thrown just like that from our friends, it will just come in. Talking like a material activity, not even realizing that one is actually seeing pure devotee from a material point of view. It's very contaminated atmosphere. So we can't escape it. And that's why I was so much trying to understand and try to convey whatever little I have understood, and try to urgency of this, that we need to like really try to see from the eyes of the scripture how Srila Prabhupada is acting, at least to the extent that we start thinking like, oh, when he's doing that, what does the scripture say about it? But not just always assume, just like project it on him what we are feeling, tiredness, sleeping, disease, you just project naturally. So that is one question. 1 second. Huh? So that was one reason I thought that we need to understand, because injurious. And we need to understand also Srila Prabhupada, because faster we understand, faster we'll be able to understand the Vedas, the scriptures. Faster we will understand the mood, the plan of Srila Prabhupada. Because without that, we cannot be really empowered more and more. Prabhupada wants to use us to deliver the whole world. No? So unless we are understanding the Lord and understanding the plan progressively more and more, to that extent only they will engage us in their service. And another thing is that if faster we understand, just by understanding itself, Srila Prabhupada, we can be promoted to the transcendental abode, just like so many, the Bhagavad Gita verse is there. Similarly, about the pure devotees, I have shared this, people can read this. And then this is also prescribed that by to reach the substance Krishna, we need to understand the Shaktivesh avatars. So this is like a preliminary, the pure devotee is there in front of us, Shaktivesh avatar. We need to understand him to understand Krishna. That is the process given in 111. And the fifth, which is the most important, is to be with Srila Prabhupada. Yes, Bashish Prabhu.
Yes. Balaram Prabhu asked a question in the chat, right? Prabhupada himself puts himself as a human. Why? To inspire service or more service. I think you have answered this earlier. You also, or some other devotee have answered it. Maybe to inspire us. Actually, it's not maybe, but it is given in the scriptures. Like I think in Bhagavatam or Chaitanya Charitamrita, it's said that all where a devotee, where a spiritual master is put in a seemingly helpless condition, it is an opportunity for others, for the disciples, to be engaged in service, right? You know, I'm sure you know this verse, this particular quote,
Yeah.
right? So it's definitely to give the disciples an opportunity to do service, to do more seva, right? And while doing that, we are what? We are purifying our own existence. And even earlier also, I wrote about this, like you're saying, why Prabhupada asks his leelas about the bewildering leelas of Prabhupada. Like, well, whatever I've heard, like I've understood from other seniors, like this it is maybe like a test for the disciples. I don't know if you have read what I've posted in the chat, so I read it. So it's moreover the so-called mistakes. There are many so-called mistakes that people may point out in Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita, right? And these so-called mistakes might be a test for the disciples how to see or view it. The scriptures are full of leelas where the spiritual masters test their disciples. For example, what this Krishna conscious movement, Hare Krishna movement, or ISKCON, is an expansion of Lord Gauranga's Sankirtan Leela, where Prabhupada is a supreme authority. And there's one famous Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur quote where it says that Lord God puts his devotees into various tests and difficulties to test their patience and strength of mind. Success depends on their good fortune, right? And there are many other places also in Prabhupada books. For example, the most important, like one of the most important verses, 4.34 in Bhagavad Gita, where Prabhupada in the purport says, one has to pass the test of the spiritual master. And how to pass the test of the spiritual master? Through knowledge, like we know we have to get the proper understanding so that we can execute bhakti perfectly, like as as good as possible, or in the best possible way. I can't hear you, Babu. We can't hear you, Babu.
Exactly.
No, I was just bringing it up for you,
Oh, yeah, okay.
Bashish Prabhu.
Okay. Oh,
You were saying that one must pass the test. Yeah.
Yes, one must be able to pass the test of the spiritual master. And when he sees a genuine desire of the disciple, he automatically blesses the disciple with genuine spiritual understanding. Yes, sir.
Very nice. Thank you. This how I have tried to see Prabhu is because in Chaitanya Charitam, in the which Adi Leela chapter where it is described the internal desire of the appearance of Lord Chaitanya, and then there is an external desire. And how Lord Chaitanya is doing is he's enjoying his main activity is to enjoy the pastime with Srimati Radha, in the mood of Srimati Radharani, to love himself with her associates. And the external pastime, which is equally true also, but it is an external, I don't know how it says, means external, which he is doing as a function here in the material world, which is not there in the spiritual world. Maybe that is external. So, because Krishna, for Krishna, everything is spiritual. No? So, that is to deliver the conditioned souls. So, Srila Prabhupada, he is what he is. He is a pure devotee enjoying the pastimes with his lordships. We don't even know which is his Sarupa, who is the Lord, who is his, the Krishna's manifested Rupa in which he worships. We don't know anything. But what we can know safely is that he is 24 hours engaged in his service, eternal service, because it is there in Uddhava's pastime that he was in the spiritual world and he was questioned. He came down to the material world. Let me pull. The great devotee Uddhava soon came back from the abode of the Lord to the human plane, and wiping his eyes, he awakened his reminiscence of the past and spoke to Vidura in a pleasing mood. When Uddhava was fully absorbed in the transcendental ecstasy of love of God, he actually forgot all about the external world. The pure devotee lives constantly in the abode of the Supreme Lord, even in the present body, which apparently means it's not, but it looks like that to us, belongs to this world. The pure devotee is not exactly on the bodily plane, since he is absorbed in the transcendental thought of the Supreme. When Uddhava wanted to speak to Vidura, he came down from the abode of the Lord Dwarka to the material plane of the human beings. So basically, Srila Prabhupada, this is what he's originally doing. That is not the test, and all these things are, I would, according to the same Lord Chaitanya pastimes thing, it's external. That's another service he's doing in the material world. But what he is this. So whatever we see as symptoms, they are naturally acting, and maybe they are used also as the test for the disciple and for so many other ways to helpless. All those can be true, but I would think they are external pastimes of Srila Prabhupada. The internal pastimes is that he's already in the spiritual world all the time. So his body is completely spiritual. It's only apparently looks like. Yeah. Let's go to the disease. Shall we just discuss this point and take up the disease next? Because the disease, no, I was hoping we can discuss the whole poison whole thing too and take it up properly, because it's just amazing, no? So much cadmium, arsenic is being pumped into his apparent material body, and nothing happened. Just like what we were talking, Christoph Prabhu, that Jesus, if he walked on the water, and like you were saying, if he displays the mystic siddhi, what would have happened? So something like this he did do. Like for material people, when they hear that, he's just like being fed so much poison, and 1,500 times or some unimaginable number of times, nothing happened to his body, but he displayed some disease symptoms. The material body should have died like long back. So it can't be that because of the cadmium there was this disease. but still there was some diseases which the medical people are saying, okay, this is because of that cadmium and this thing, but there is some underlyings, all these things are going on. So I am hoping we can really delve into that pastime of Srila Prabhupada becoming deceased and even dying, so-called dying through the eyes of the scriptures, and see how in his ecstasy, in this ecstasy of separation, he is feeling like that. And maybe we can discuss more in his mood, what he was going through, based, of course, based on the scriptures, not from our speculative, or limited thinking. But why don't we discuss this before we finish today on this, what we discussed till now? Anyone else has anything to add? Such an important topic. Forgetfulness, how he's displaying mistakes.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. What do you attribute that being in Jersey? Yeah.
Balaram Prabhu says, if Srila Prabhupada does this, like as a human being, how can he be offended if differently conditioned disciples deal with him in that way, knowing gradually their consciousness will be purified and elevated to no longer see Prabhupada in a material way? But it could be go down, no? Because they can. Oh, so first thing is, why should he be offended? A pure devotee is not, I don't understand how pure devotee can ever be offended. It is Krishna who becomes offended. Because we understand from the pastime of Ambrish Maharaj and Durvasa Muni. So, Ambrish Maharaj's pastime, so Durvasa Muni, he offended Ambrish Maharaj. We know from that pastime. But Ambrish Maharaj didn't feel offended. But Krishna became upset. So he sent a Sudarshan Chakra after Durvasa Muni. So I don't know, pure devotee gets offended only on the behalf of Krishna or his devotees, but not for himself. So, but we have been told the offense and all that is just so that we become scared, not to go near him, not to see with this pure, not to see with the eyes and become envious and injure ourselves. And the reactions are also corrective reactions from our Supreme Father, Shri Krishna. So just like the example of the Nalakuvera and Manigriva, they offended, Narada Muni cursed them, but it was a purificatory curse. So pure devotees, they don't, they don't become like upset like that, like us, or offended. But what Balaram Prabhu, you're saying that they gradually their consciousness will be purified. It will be if they don't become too offensive, like in the sense of seeing Srila Prabhupada as the material person and then taking steps to act them out. It could be in our consciousness, but we should be scared because we know from theoretically we accept, no, Srila Prabhupada is equal to God. He has a spiritual body. I don't understand why he's doing that. I don't understand what it means, but all I can do is I can try to understand, gradually by reading. So one can hold judgments in one's thinking, feeling, and actions. Then it will be purified, because one is, that's what we hear in in the introduction of Bhagavad Gita we were reading, we are told to read Bhagavad Gita with the theoretical understanding, that theoretical acceptance that Krishna is a supreme personality of Godhead, not a material person, even an extraordinary person. So I would think that we can extrapolate that to Srila Prabhupada, that as a pure devotee and as a spiritual master, that he, his actions, his talks, his feelings, whatever we hear, we don't make judgments or actions that, oh, this is like that, and then develop doubt, and then it becomes worse, and then we lose enthusiasm, or we start to criticize and so and so forth. So I think that will be purificatory, because by chanting and by serving him, we'll get gradually, and by most important, by hearing from the pure devotees and from Bhagavatam.
All right.
Um,
All right. Yeah.
so he doesn't put himself like that. He is what he is. We have to accept that that he is a pure devotee coming, and this is what he is. And can we handle him? Can we really? Are we qualified even to have a little bit association with him? Who are we? What? Yes.
Maybe because I always think I think like we need to really find also counteract arguments, right? Arguments in the sense, yeah, counteract points, right? Because and the main point maybe also is, right. So like you just basically also said, so there are two. There's the hypothesis actually is, right. Can a conditioned soul develop its consciousness so far so that it reawakens Krishna consciousness and get purified 100%, and thereby also attaining the role and the opportunity to act as a spiritual master? Or is that not possible, and only Nitya Siddha soul, Jiva, can, on the order of Krishna, take up the role of the spiritual master to deliver the conditioned souls in the material world, or that are influenced under the material mode. So
Well, Srila Prabhupada answers that very clearly. He explains that one can see, one is a Nitya Baddha, not eternally conditioned. From that, we can become purified and liberated through sadhana bhakti, sadhana siddha, or kripa siddha, by the mercy. But once one attains one's eternal position, then is again considered nitya siddha.
Right, but the hypothesis is more like, so like also then from the point of view of one lifetime, in a one material lifetime, right? So is that possible? Because that would be the viewpoint of the GBC society, right? So that would be their viewpoint that this is possible indeed, and whereas, yeah, I think what we discuss, or what in general is our understanding, is like, no, actually that's not really possible, because Srila Prabhupada was already before, so that it was he was not in one lifetime a conditioned soul, but then through some sadhana in whatever 20 years he suddenly became a Nitya Siddha, and then he got all his got the order of the Lord to become the spiritual master. I think that's more our position, no? So at least that's my understanding.
So,
Because
Prabhu,
because
that
that
is, yeah.
because that
that
would
has
be
no-
kind of also the main point in the whole discussion of like, okay, who can be guru, right? What is who can act on the Guru Tattva platform?
So, this is it is described here in the, see this. This is from the Accepting the Spiritual Master.
Please come up to the podium. Annette Cardello, please come up to the
My
podium.
dear
Let's
king,
see
a
one.
disciple is not only a spiritual master, but a representative. So someone has to be equal to God, and then one has to learn Bhagavatam from him. You see, so now the problem with this is what the first thing is that the Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita is making one a pure devotee. No? So if when one becomes a pure devotee through Srila Prabhupada's teachings and become pure, then he also is a Nitya Siddha according to Srila Prabhupada certifies it very clear it is. It's like blanket statement he's making. Once he's situated in his Swarupa, then he's also Nitya Siddha. That doesn't mean that he would act as a spiritual master and initiate disciple. Why does every pure devotee need to initiate and make disciples?
Exactly.
Why does everybody need to create their own Bhagavatam unless Krishna orders so? They will not be even empowered. Just like only Srila Prabhupada is being empowered to write and translate and have Bhagavatam available and to teach Bhagavatam around the world. I mean, that is when it's a current link and it's empowered, that is right there. You can see. No one is empowered in the parampara, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu parampara,
right.
or Bhagavatam.
Right, but so my question more points to, okay, so we accept, so we accept, or do we accept that Srila Prabhupada manifested his body already before, so he was on the unconditional state before, right? So similar. So I mean, we have this understanding because we say like, okay, we have a parampara, and it's like, okay, you first be a disciple, and you're in a conditioned state, and you're in ignorance, and then you meet your spiritual master, and then you learn from him, and then you also one of the disciples of the spiritual masters can also bring the parampara forward. But so we have all this is one concept, right? So that, oh, I'm a conditioned soul now. I learn for 20 years and I become a spiritual master. It can happen to a couple of disciples who are really fortunate, right? So whereas the other point of view would be like, no, we have the parampara as a link to conserve the knowledge in due course of time. But all the acharyas of the parampara would be actually already unconditioned souls before they appeared in the material world, right? So no one of these acharyas, no one would be a conditioned soul before and then suddenly became a unconditioned soul in Nitya Siddha and
here all
assumed
the
the role.
associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are Nitya Siddhas or eternally
Exactly.
perfect.
Exactly.
Nityananda Prabhu is Balaram, the immediate exponent Krishna. Advaita Prabhu is
Right.
Mahavishnu.
So, which then means that as long as we don't and we don't accept that, right? We don't say like, no, the devotees and the GBC society who act as gurus are actually all
how do we
eternally
know
unconditioned.
some devotees may be there who are Nitya Siddhas? No?
Might be, sure, but always unconditioned souls, so they just manifest as the body here too. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there is nothing to say no, because Krishna can do anything. Why do we say no, nobody, and all these things? The only thing we need to say is Srila Prabhupada is eternally perfect. He was empowered by Krishna to be the spiritual master.
But still, do we agree that this is in general the mindset? I mean, this is in general the understanding that like, Right. So if when I talk to other devotees of the GBC society, sure, they are always like, yeah, okay, I joined, back 20 years ago. Now I study. I'm a brahmachari for such and such long time, and then in 10 years I will become a swami, and then before I was a drug addict. So in 10 years I become a swami, and then at one point I will initiate other disciples. I have
No,
my
my
own
point
disciples.
is
So
that, you see,
that's
there is two things happening. One is
but
becoming
that's
perfect and another is becoming a guru.
right.
So,
But their mindset is that it is possible, right? For these devotees, they think it's possible to, in one lifetime, from a meat eater, drug addict, whatever, sense enjoyer, to completely purify myself to such a state that at some point I'm a complete realized soul. I live in the spiritual world, and I'm able to deliver other conditioned souls from
well,
the material
that's our
consciousness.
parampara realization, no? Jagai Madaya like that. Valmiki himself was like this. 60,000 years he chanted Hare Krishna mantra. Then he became like the guru of the whole world. Like he wrote Ramayana, delivering. That there is nothing wrong in it. How can we deny Krishna that he cannot purify somebody completely in one lifetime? The point is of
Valmiki, 60,000 years, I mean, bit
guru
different
and
time, but
becoming disciples. No, but Jagai Madai was also only 500 years back, no?
Mhm.
So my point is that
But they
guru
but
becoming a pure devotee and a potential
but
to deliver everything is
but
different from
but then
Krishna
Jagai Madai,
empowering. One second, Krishna empowering them to deliver. Potential to deliver is different from empowering to deliver. Because if you are a pure devotee, you are wanting everybody to be delivered, but you see Srila Prabhupada is right there delivering. Krishna is empowered. So you just bring people to Srila Prabhupada, give them so much faith in Srila Prabhupada that Prabhupada will deliver them. What is the problem? One is pure devotee will always act as servant of other pure devotees. We in the spiritual world, when
yeah,
we were there,
exactly.
we are always acting as servant.
But then also Jagai Madai maybe it's not a good example, because they also just played the role, right? So they were also evolved,
But
really highly
that
evolved
example
souls.
is given to show that anybody can be delivered by taking the shelter of a pure
Yeah,
devotee.
that's true.
But
they can be delivered, but they didn't become Jagat Madai. So that would be news to me. So Jagat Madai didn't become like spiritual masters delivering other people. No?
I don't know, but they are considered one of the branches of Lord Chaitanya, so which means that they were. But I don't know more about them.
Is that true?
I don't know more about them, but that is the truth. So, but once probably pure devotee, and automatically, because one is a pure devotee, he will start to now take disciples and deliver others. That is where it's
But this is right. So it's
like so many pure devotees are there in the Bhagavatam.
But in general, this is like the mindset of the GBC society, right? So this is their strategy, basically, right? So and this is what we that's also, at least that was my impression, that the whole point of discussing Guru Tattva is also to kind of solve this issue, like philosophically, in that sense, right? And in that sense also,
we will definitely go to that, Prabhu. We'll go to that. From the transcendental Bhakti Lata Beach, from the transcendental Divya Gyan, how are they giving, and how is Srila Prabhupada giving? Are they giving? All the scientifically, Srila Prabhupada explained everything, all these things. And we will go through all of that once we go back to Chaitanya Charitamrita. Right now we are on that accepting spiritual master, accepting him as good as God, that on that point. And then when we go forward, we will start seeing all of those things. So it's more clear once we go through those.
But but in that sense, sorry, but then it's also, but still a really valid point, because as we discussed a couple of times now already, that this book, the Lilamrita, and so on. So that also the concept is often that, okay, Srila Prabhupada had a material body, had a material life before he acted as a acharya and all that. Whereas we would say like, no, first the scriptures say like, no, we should not consider the spiritual master having a material body, shouldn't discuss, shouldn't consider these things material.
All
And
remaining passengers for flight
so
1274 going into Cincinnati. All remaining passengers welcome aboard at this time.
yeah, just quite loud with the announcement. And so yeah, so my question remains: is it normally the case that an acharya or a jiva acting, getting the order from the Lord to act as a spiritual master, that he already before, since, yeah, I mean before, sure, but already is on the Nitya Siddha platform. It doesn't need to be delivered in this current lifetime because they already are before, together with Krishna, together with.
No, Prabhu, it doesn't. One is Siddha on the Swarup level, he can deliver, no? Others. Like with the example of Valmiki is there, no?
Yeah. Okay, but I mean, there's not much.
I mean, Shukdev Goswami, he was an impersonalist and then he became a personalist and he's delivering. And 4 Kumaras were also the same. Brahmaji is considered the same. So it does not matter when one is a Siddha, then he can deliver.
But yeah, so then the argument can be, yeah, okay, yeah, Srila Prabhupada actually had to, when he was born, he had actually a material body. Then, he married, and for the next, you can make a, at what point then he attained Nidya Siddha stage again, and so he had a material body. So then what is wrong with the Lilamrita?
Oh, Srila Prabhupada had a material body.
No, I'm just saying, so then you can make this argument, right? So if you say like, no, he was a conditioned soul before, but then he met Bhaktisiddhanta at a due course of time, through practice, he then achieved the Krishna consciousness and got the order from his spiritual master and from Krishna to start his mission.
But because Srila Prabhupada says so, it is not like we can come up with something here. He says like that. He says that just like Advaita Prabhu, Nityananda Prabhu helps, similarly anyone, even up to date, who is trying to help the propagation of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission, preach the Sankirtan movement all over the world, not in one region or any place, all over the world. He is also associate of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Gaurangi Sangi Gane, Nitya Siddha Bali Mane. They are not ordinary human beings, Nitya Siddha, ever liberated, up to date. So this is they can say we are preaching, but they are not, no, they don't have the Bhagavatam to preach. Without Bhagavatam, teaching Bhagavatam, one can't teach the rasas. And only what they are doing is they are actually extending Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavatam. They're giving more explanation on Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavatam. It is not the same as Srila Prabhupada is giving commentary on some other Acharya's Bhagavatam. They have to write their own Bhagavatam and print it in other languages and distribute it around the world. So that is available, no? People, when they leave, who is going to teach them? Srila Prabhupada is teaching, no, from the Bhagavatam. All of us. He's ready and willing and teaching around the world, everybody. No? So why he only made zonal system of preaching, zonal GBC, so zones. So each one was preaching in one zone.
Yeah,
not even with the Bhagavatam. Srila Prabhupada is preaching. His servant, one is preaching in a zone. That's the maximum one can become in this till his Bhagavatam is available. It's not, that's how Krishna has designed it, Prabhu. I don't see anything else from the eyes of the scriptures. If somebody can show, okay, everybody could become pure. Okay, where are your Bhagavatam? how do you understand all the 5 rasas if you don't read the Bhagavatam? Understand, like learning Bhagavatam, not the Sanskrit. Okay, Prabhu. It's very, very good discussion, very good points. We can definitely keep this will come up definitely, this main topic. And because we have gone only to this point till now, Bhagavatam reading, so I'm making this point again. This is a really solid point because it is there in the accepting the spiritual master. But when we go to the Divya Gyan, Bhakti Lata Bij, all of these also will lay out very clearly, Srila Prabhupada is laying out very clearly that there is no doubt that Divya Gyan is coming only because of sanction of Srila Prabhupada. The Bhakti Lata Bij is coming only because of one is satisfy the pure devotee, satisfy the spiritual master. Otherwise, Bhakti Lata Bij one cannot get. Guru Krishna Prasadipaya Bhakti Lata Bij. Otherwise, one will get Jnana or Karma Bij or Mishra Bijis. So there is no way Srila Prabhupada is not spiritual master. For everyone who right way they try to understand and surrender and everything. Tad Vidhi Pranipatena. Okay, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Mataji. Night. Goodbye.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Dandavat pranam or gurus to Srila Prabhupada.
Srila Prabhupada ki
Prabhu
jai.
ki jai.
Yeah.
Ram Prabhu ki jai. Krishna Prabhu ki jai. Shuddha Sattva Prabhu ki jai. Raksha Prabhu ki jai. Sarita Mata ki jai.